Hey, everybody. You are about to hear a brief retelling of the Angry Birds cartoon at the movies. Enjoy the movie. On a distant island of birds that do not fly, lives Red. He works as a courier and must be in time to deliver a cake for the hatching day by noon. Passing through a band of natural obstacles, Red finally got to the addressee, but the truth is that with his appearance he frightened the chick, and his harmful father began to mock Red. Refusing to pay for the cake, Red became nervous and smeared the cake on the customer's face, at the same time dressing him up in a clown costume. The whole family tensed up and accidentally stepped on a squirrel, so that the messenger didn't fall on their egg, but the chick got distracted by a piece of cake and broke the egg. Red was an orphan and an outcast, bullied from childhood because of his huge bushy eyebrows. All his subsequent life, the surrounding birds pissed Red off and he never tried to restrain himself. But this time his explosive temper led to one of the worst crimes on the island, the premature hatching of an egg. Poor Red's judgment will now be decided in court, for he could have made eggnog out of the chick. And the little fellow himself now calls him Daddy. Red has long since left the bird village and lives separately. The other birds, he is not welcome. Our hero is not going to listen to teachings from the judge liar, who tries to look important and big. Red threw off his robe and showed everyone the bird stand on which he stood. For that, the judge had given him the maximum punishment possible, namely anger management courses. Maybe he could really use them, because Red pisses off literally every single person on the island. It was especially hard at the crosswalk when he had to pass a million fledglings and a decrepit old lady walking at a snail's pace. Rejoice and smile, says Red on the welcome sign outside the anger management center, but he only felt joy when he pummeled an annoying stuffed animal that was mocking him. A resilient Matilda introduces Red to the other students. The yellow twitchy bird, that's Chuck, an ultra-fast violator who didn't stop at a stop sign and while the policeman was writing him a ticket, raided the station and trashed it, nicked cops' wallet and spent all the money and even pooped on top of it. Huge boogeyman Terrence has done things that Matilda is afraid to even voice, a real maniac. Bomb is also a newcomer. His problem is that when he gets upset or scared, he can bomb, that is really explodes like a bomb. Yoga is supposed to help students with anger management, but Bomb's dancer's posture only stressed him out and he exploded, and that was the end of today's class. Chuck would have liked to hang out with a new acquaintance, but loners don't need friends and he went home. Although it is obvious that Red envies those who have friends and family, everyone on the island knows that they are protected from enemies by a mighty eagle. But no one has seen him for many years. Probably he is a loner like Red. It was the beginning of an ordinary day on the bird island. The birds did not know that their lives would soon change. Another way to get rid of anger is to express your feelings through poetry, but Red as always went against the rules and did not write anything, but Chuck's poem is dedicated to the scarecrow, which was destroyed by some evil scoundrel. By the way, at the scene of the crime was left a red feather, and to frame Terrence at Red did not work out. Having said goodbye to the scarecrow and crushed his remains, the birds hurried to run to the shore. An unusual ship was approaching the island. The ship plowed through the sand and the stone anchor was dropped right on Red's beach house, and he had spent 5 years building it. A green-bearded boar named Leonard stepped out of the technological ship to meet the birds. He and his assistant had come from the pig world with gifts. Until that day, the birds had been convinced that there were no other islands. To prove that they had come in good faith, Ross hugged them all very tightly. In honor of the guests, the pigs brought a pile of dynamite and blew it up on the stage. In the crate was a trampoline and a couple other pigs. That's weird, because Leonard said there were only 2 of them on the ship. Another gift was a royal slingshot. Thanks to it, the birds no longer had to carry things on their backs. They could just shoot them. Leonard asked for a volunteer to come on stage, the red one over there with the giant eyebrows. Red didn't even come up to the pigs. They put him on a rubber band and threw him out of here so he wouldn't whine and beg for his house to be fixed. Red landed next to his house. Chuck immediately ran up to him and offered to explore the alien ship. Bomb joined them. The entire ship is littered with explosives, with trampolines, cars, and colorful costumes in various cabins. Bomb got playful on the trampoline and fell through the floor onto a whole bunch of green pigs that were hiding here. A disgruntled Red returned to the party and told the birds about the hundreds of pigs that the bearded boar was trying to hide from them for some reason. Leonard took the floor and began to tell them that he was just worried about his dumb relatives and wanted to make sure the island was safe for them first. Leonard wanted their people to live together, but apparently he had crossed the line. However, it was Red who was criticized by the judge. Apparently he didn't heal. Angry Red went home and the piggies put on a cowboy show. The green pigs flooded the island and even broke into Red's house without asking. I wonder how much longer this will go on. The pot-bellied tourists are exploring the island. Leonardo's attention was caught by an egg, and he was eager to spend a few beautiful moments with it and eat it. But Red demanded that Boar get his hooves off it and also draw a picture. Meanwhile, another ship with pigs had docked at the island. Are they scavenging to stay here to live forever? For some reason this question only concerned Red. He gathered his friends and asked them to help him find out what these greens are up to. They should find the mighty eagle and tell him all about it. He lives in the Lake of Wisdom on a high mountain. During the arduous journey, the birds try to guess what the eagle's battle cry might sound like. Finally, the trio climbed to the very top and found that they had the wrong mountain. The one they needed was opposite, so they climbed it, and there it is, the famous Lake of Wisdom. But the mighty eagle himself is nowhere to be seen. Chuck and Bomb bathe in the lake and drink water from it, hoping to gain wisdom. Suddenly, a mighty roar is heard from the cave, and the mighty eagle comes out of the cave and pees directly into the lake. Bomb was upset and cried. The eagle turned out to be not mighty, but rather obese, also a braggart. He shows the guests the hall of his heroism and promises that they will gain his wisdom. The cave is littered with all sorts of trash and awards, and the eagle himself sings them a song about his greatness. Piggy continues to introduce the birds to different devices and invites them to a party to be held this week. The streets are filled with dangerous smoky traffic, and Matilda's class is left with only Terrence. Red tries to tell Eagle about the pig problem, but he just gets up and walks out of the cave. He was more interested in peeping at old ladies with binoculars, but Red saw that the pigs were planting dynamite in the homes of hospitable birds and asked Eagle to help him deal with them. But the fat man is fine here. Too bad, because he's the only bird that can fly. But apparently it's up to a simpleton like Red to save the island. Friends, with all the buttons rushed back to the village, the pigs they threw a loud party where all the birds gathered. But it's all done for distraction. They themselves steal from the island all the eggs and transport them to the ship, and also blows up absolutely all the houses of birds with dynamite. Chuck came running to the party and told of the pigs' treachery. Meanwhile, Red and Bomb clung to the egg net to keep them from being taken off the island. Bomb climbed on the chain and asked for Red to start abusing him, getting upset he was about to explode, but the pigs put him out and threw him into the water. Satisfied, having blown up the eagle statue for the last time, they set off with the loot to the island of the pigs. In the morning, the villagers walk among the burned houses and cannot find a single egg. The judge apologized to Red. He tried to warn them, but they did not listen to him. Now they need to decide what to do next. Chuck suggested that they immediately start making new babies, but Red is sure that the birds will be able to get their eggs back. The pig ship has left a trail of garbage and they're going to follow it, so they have to build their own ship, and they have to get mad to kick the mean pigs' asses. Remember, birds are the descendants of the dinosaurs. The feathered ones tied up the remaining crates and sailed on a raft to the island of the pigs to save their offspring. When Leonard arrived home, he climbed up on the balcony of the palace and put on a crown, because he was the king of the island of pigs. All his relatives were looking for eggs, and only King Beard could find them, a whole mountain of eggs. Soon the birds landed on the island and found that the pigs live in a huge city fenced by high walls. They must fly over them using a giant slingshot. Matilda was the first to volunteer, and as she flew over, she threw a fireball at a bunch of pigs sitting on the grass. Toucan Hell was a little short of the target and boomeranged back to the birds. Snotty Cyrus didn't do much damage, but he blew away 2 high-rises at once. The king turned to the pigs and ordered them to prepare for defense. The mighty eagle has equally mighty binoculars. He saw what was happening on the island of pigs and thought about helping his people. The eagle tries to take off, but his belly pulls him down. Red shows the birds in which direction they should fly. Unfortunately, they don't reach the castle yet, but they gradually destroy the houses that stand in their way. Red is ready to sacrifice himself to tear down a giant boulder that is in the way, but he only pushed off of it and flew straight into the castle, which means the others need to fly the same course. Leonard immediately ordered his army to hide all the eggs. It was time to shoot Chuck. At a certain point, he accelerated and flew through the most dangerous rooms and stopped next to Red. Bomb also flew into the castle. The pig army has a lot of airplanes. The birds have a high accurate long-range slingshot, but Terrence overdid it and broke their weapon. Despite the mayhem in the city, Leonard and his cronies are preparing for a feast. Apparently, the eggs are behind a door that says here are no eggs. Using his super speed, Chuck has dealt with the guards, but the eggs are already heading towards the large cauldron. Red got caught on the net and hovered on it right above the boiling water. The heroes took away the remote control and prevented the future chicks from being boiled. At that moment, a mighty eagle flew into the tower at high speed, and Bum and Chuck rushed in as well. The eagle grabbed the net with his eggs, but the pigs clung to it and wouldn't let him fly. Suddenly, one egg fell out. Red orders his friends to fly away without him, but he will stay behind to save the last egg. Red grabbed it and hovered on the chandelier with Leonard to escape the boiling water. Meanwhile, Bomb realized that he could stop the planes if he blew up the runway. The main thing was to concentrate and bomb in time. As the next batch of airplanes approached him, Bomb let off the most powerful blast he could. The birds stuck in the city were saved by Terrence, who managed to steal the pig's transportation without being seen. Red and Leonard fell into the dynamite vault. The pig was about to gobble up an egg right away, but Red outsmarted the boar. He was covered by the fallen cauldron, and then all the dynamite exploded, blowing the pig city to smithereens. The birds were able to get their eggs back. Too bad Red had to sacrifice his life to do so. But he managed to survive the explosion. And from the saved egg hatched blue triplets, he gave them to their parents, and he himself was in the strong arms of the mighty eagle. The birds are rebuilding their village. A new monument to Red has been erected, and you can spot it too. If you look closely, his house is also restored, but put in the middle of the village, because he is their hero who saved all the offspring.